soaked in folds of midnight waters, side by side, we sons and daughters. We set forth for no king's orders, but we'll sail together.
And then we also established that about 10 to 12 different slaves joined them on the ship. The rest of the people just tried to escape into their own lives. Uh, some of the men were killed, but most of them returned to the ship. Betsy returned to the ship. She also found her mother during this time.
Yeah, she also killed her father as well.
Right. Talk about that a little bit. That was quite an intense battle she had with her father.
Well, after Repton dropped, she was two men had approached her, which she pulled the daggers from her thighs, using one to stab the other, and but which killed him, but the other one didn't get killed. It went in his arm instead of his face, like the other one did, and she had to fight that one, which she didn't fully fight. He was going to kill her. He knocked her down. She was down because Betsy hasn't had a lot of you know one-to-one combat. There wasn't many instances that she could handle something like that. So he had gotten her down, and he was shot. There was an arm that extended over her, and the man was shot. And the man that shot him was Alfred. And he basically looked down on her and said, if anybody's going to kill my daughter, it's going to be me. And, from there, the two of them went at it. She demanded to know why he sent hunters after them. He never cared for her. And he never answered the question because he didn't want to. Because he knew it would come down to it for him saying that he never loved his daughter, but he had to care for her to some extent for him to do that to her. So he never said it, but there was like an inch of love there, just a little bit, and that's why he sent the hunters. But it was also because he needed her to marry Repton. He needed the tie to America to, get him to America to, to move into America where he could have, what are they? Noble contacts, just get into that party over there. So she, what was it? I'm trying to remember here. I just typed this like a couple days ago and I already forgot. Um, so she basically told her father that um, he had already killed one man in her life that she cared and loved, and she wasn't going to let it happen again. And they she had taken a sword off of one of the redcoats just laying nearby, and she defended herself from his hits and pretty good for quite a while until she got exhausted. She was breathing heavy, she was staggering a little bit, and then her father slit her shoulder, and that was the arm that was her dominant arm, the arm that she was holding the sword in, and it made her arm go weak, and she couldn't really swing it anymore. And he knocked it from her. She was down for the count too as well, but she used one last thing. She headbutted her father, and then he stumbled back. Of course, everybody that gets headbutted stumbles back, right? So she used that moment to grab the sword that Alfred had. She had, because he was crawling over her, and she had like grabbed his hand before the sword came down on her, and he like disposed of it during this point. And she rolled over and grabbed it, and as soon as she rolled back, she like held it up right, and then her father just right onto it because he was charging her, so it went straight through his head.
Petricide at its finest.
He killed himself.
So that kind of led to where we're now, which is kind of the conclusion of where we're at for the moment, which is her mother ended up joining us on the ship. joining Butcher and Betsy on the ship, uh, almost being violated, though Gibbs stepped in. And writing for Gibbs is very difficult because he's got a pirate accent combined with an Irish accent. And luckily, there's a translation page that makes that a little bit easier. But even I struggle to understand everything they type when you how this translation page works is you type out what you want to say, you hit translate, and it translates it into a pirate speech, and then you can copy that and you can put it in the Irish translator, and it translates that pirate speech into Irish pirate speech, and it's so convoluted and difficult to understand. Even I struggle with it, and
I do struggle with it too, to be
yeah,
honest with
and
you.
so we've got to, at some point, I think we've got to get Betsy to teach Gibbs how to speak properly, at least to some degree, because he's just so difficult to understand. But
Hey, she's
he's,
been trying though. She's been, every time he says a couple words, she'll correct him just because she just wants to. And he's taken that too, like those few words that she's always corrected him by. He stops and like he'll go to say it and then he'll stop himself and then correct himself.
right.
It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny to see him do that.
And to save Butcher, they needed more than a couple of chicks that had some minor medical knowledge. So they kidnapped this doctor and his daughter and made the doctor work on Butcher while the daughter was entertained. But aside from our direct writing rules about we have with children, uh, Butcher has these personal rules that children aren't to be harmed either. So Carlos is upstairs entertaining the the child and juggling, and they're playing music for her and stuff like that, while the slaves are being you know taken into the pantry to be fed and given a proper meal and stuff. And this led to one of the most common uh, fears that pirates have, which is a dead a dead pirate will drag the souls of those around him with him to the grave if they're dying, and a captain will drag his entire crew down with him to the to Davy Jones's locker. As they take their final breath, they'll drag the souls of those men around with them into the under into death. And so nobody will enter this medical cabin. And that kind of concluded where we're at with the story so far. So I want to ask, where do you see the story going from here? Like, what's something that we should expect? Is the story concluding, or is there more to come?
Well, we have some stuff, a couple more things planned for them. Obviously, Butcher's going to survive, um, despite everything. But she's also pregnant too, so there's that. There will be a newborn child soon. So let's see what else. Um, I mean, I know that we're heading toward foreign waters, or at least
Right.
that's where
And I don't want to give
you
too
know,
much away about that, but again, we're looking at some factual information for the foreign waters. So
you
we've done
know,
some research on that, and that there's a lot of facts that are going to pop up, or historical aspects that are going to pop up with that as well.
yeah, because I mean, Butcher's gonna be down for a little bit, but I mean, he's still gonna be able to tell the men where to head. So yeah, they're going into foreign waters. So that's gonna be cool too. I can't wait for that.
And of course, with Butcher down, Betsy's going to have to take some kind of leadership role, along with the quartermaster and the first mate, in that these men cannot work without some kind of money. So they're going to have to take at least another ship or two on their travels.
Oh man.
Yeah, and that's going to be you writing all that stuff instead of me. So our world
Man.
our world thread has been updated again with all the new NPCs, except for some reason Betsy's family is not on this world thread, which, by the way, is driving me completely insane. Uh,
I'm gonna put it there, I promise.
but we do have all the torture devices that we're seeing. We have all the new characters that showed up on the world thread. We have the new port I did not update the port of Pennsylvania on there, but we do have the port of Charleston on there with some historical information. And I really like the world thread because anybody that's interested in piracy could easily use this world thread for a lot of information. We've got everything from guns, weapons, torture devices, ships, sails. It's all on there. So it's a
The
really
state of slavery too during that time. We got all
right.
that listed too.
The main difference in our version of slavery is that we encompassed a mass of people instead of just a particular group, and I did that on purpose because it just doesn't make sense. Like they were enslaving everybody, but we only focus on a particular group of slaves during that time. But that just wasn't the case. A lot of people were sold into slavery. A lot of people were fighting off slavery in that time. Not just African Americans, but all cultures. You had the Asians, you had the Caucasians, you had Mexicans. They were all fighting this slavery during this time, which was extremely common, and it was it it was everywhere. So we have some information about that and stuff. I would highly recommend that anybody that's interested to read the world thread if you want to see what we've done with the world, and stay tuned with the story because it's not quite concluded yet, and there's some more exciting stuff to come, I think.
I think so too. I'm excited for the birth of their child. I'm
Yes,
excited for that.
that will be interesting. Will
I've been waiting
Butcher
for this.
allow a child to be on a pirate ship, or will he, port somewhere and make her live on land? It's something to consider and something to look forward to as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, he knows, but she's gonna talk to him about it, see what he thinks. So,
All right. Well, this has been our interview with Ipsy for the Pirates Black Heart, and we've taken a huge chunk of what's happened. I hope you guys are enjoying these updates, and I look forward to doing the next one.
me too.
Take care, everybody.